I'm joined now by former KGB agent Jack Barsky. He was recruited by the Soviet Union to spy on the United States during the Cold War. He was eventually exposed and then flipped to serve U.S. counterintelligence. He's now a public speaker and the author of the book Deep Cover. Jack, always great to have you here. As a former spy yourself, I'm curious if you see any clues as to who this sailor might have been passing classified information to. Screenshots, they say, of a computer screen on the Navy destroyer with classified information on it. The charging documents only say he passed it to a foreign national.
Yeah, there are no clues, but if I may, I'm somewhat flabbergasted why this is a big story. This kind of stuff is going on all the time. And there clearly is no indication that this is going to be a wave now. Let me, if I may, there's two things worth mentioning here. Number one is that what is known by experts in intelligence is the insider threat is the biggest threat to any organization and country. And as you probably know, the two most successful agents for the KGB were insiders, Mold,
right,
in Aldrich Ames and Hansen. What I would want to add here is that American counterintelligence has been sloppy. You know, the Ames and the Hansen case, clearly they should have been uncovered. And there's ways to uncover insiders. You know, I was the ultimate insider, and when I stole something from a particular company, I went into overtime a lot. Okay, so there's all kinds of ways to be more watchful, but Americans are just not really a watchful nation.
Yeah, well, we've seen this. There have been several. There was the Air Guardsman as well on the East Coast who, you know, was passing classified information to people, you know, in a TikTok chat room. But I want to ask you, as a spy who flipped yourself, I want to ask you about Alexander Smirnov, the longtime FBI spy who in 2020 suddenly began information he says Russia fed him. How would Russia flip an asset like this? How do they get to him? How do they persuade him?
Well, there's a number of ways to do that. It depends upon you. You need to understand the situation that this individual is in. Ultimately, to persuade somebody to do something that they normally wouldn't do, if it's in their own best interest or their interest of the people they care about. This is typically what and how humans act, and it could be bribery, it could be extortion. And it could be a whole bunch of things, but you know that is not for me to speculate what happened in this particular case. You know this is very well known in the intelligence field. I'm friends with somebody who flipped a couple of GRU agents in the United States, where you are now in New York. And he got to know them really well before he made the offer, so to speak.
Is it a seduction? Does it take a long time? We know that Smirnov had millions in his bank account. He's Israeli, not Russian.
Yes, it is very important that you have a trust relationship with the person that is betraying whichever country we're talking about. You must trust that individual, and that takes a while to build.
Smirnov has now been indicted for lying. He says it was all Russian disinformation. We had Republican congressmen citing that Russian disinformation for more than a year, unwittingly spreading Russian lies. Do you think Russian intelligence is celebrating this?
I would. Vladimir Putin is I guarantee you, he loves this, because ultimately what he's after here is not necessarily all the intelligence, but the fact that that the Americans are getting scared. Every time I show up in public, I'm being asked the question: how many people like you are nowadays in the United States? Not like me, but there's a lot of espionage going on, and every time somebody's caught, unlike in my days, Putin just he celebrates because.
Yeah. All right, I want to ask you about Alexei Navalny. This afternoon, President Biden met with members of Navalny's family. Afterward, he praised their bravery. Take a listen.
morning, I had the honor of meeting with Alexei Navalny's wife and daughter. As to state the obvious, he was a man of incredible courage. And it's amazing how his wife and daughter are emulating that.
President Biden met with Yulia and their daughter, who goes to Stanford University. Yulia, Biden, many world leaders accuse Putin of murdering Navalny. Do you think they're right?
Absolutely. Not necessarily directly. At minimum, the impact of the conditions he was held in this cold section of the country. Absolutely.
But so, Jack, why now? What's going on with Putin? We've got Navalny's murder. We've got the assassination of the Russian pilot who defected and he was in Spain. We have the arrest of this American ballerina in Russia for donating $51 to Ukraine. What does this tell you about Putin's frame of mind?
I believe he's deliberately ratcheting up his game. If anybody thinks he's crazy like a fox. If you had the opportunity to watch Tucker Carlson interview Putin, Putin was clearly in total command of his brain. He manipulated so well, and that's what he does. He's the greatest manipulator in modern history, I believe. And this is all about, and it's not just meant to communicate that he is in charge to the rest of the world and that he is a danger to reckon with. It's also to give the message to the folks at home, the ones that support him and the ones that don't support him. He's still clearly in the saddle. So that's all I can say here.
Thanks so much for watching. Go to joinnn.com to find NewsNation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.